Night tip-off here inside Purcell Pavilion. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish look to play spoiler against the Clemson Tigers, who went from Saturday being one of the Final Four teams into the NCAA tournament field, according to Joe Lunardi, to now sitting on the outside looking in, falling against North Carolina. It was an opportunity for their second Quadrant 1 victory of the season. Didn't get it, so their only one right now is against Virginia Tech for Brad Brownell's squad, sitting at 17-12. So glad to have you here with us tonight in Northern Indiana. I'm Mike Cousins. He's Jordan Cornette, the all-time leading shot blocker here at Notre Dame. Final week of the regular season, Jordan. It's go time for the Tigers to get themselves back into the NCAA tournament field. They needed a big performance on Saturday. They got one from Marquise Reed with 24 against UNC.
Mike, Marquise Reed is one of the best scorers in the ACC. He's also a volume guy that has the perpetual green light. So he's going to come out here hunting his shot early and often. He's fantastic in the open floor in transition. Defensively, he can generate some offense there, getting into passing lanes, being disruptive. He's the lighthouse for this team. He has to set the tone. A guy that's capable of hitting 20 points. Can he do it on the road here when they absolutely need it?
Tigers in the road orange, the Fighting Irish in the home white here on Senior Day, the final home game of the regular season for Notre Dame. You'll notice no David Skara in the starting lineup for the second straight contest for the Tigers. Started their first 28 games of the year, now has been out of the starting lineup the last two. It was an upper body injury that kept him out Saturday against UNC. School says he is available to play today. And Liam Nelligan in the middle of the starting lineup, the walk-on in his second season with the Irish, their lone senior. He's a grad student this year at Notre Dame. Gets the start, the first of his career.
Puts in his perspective how unusual of a season it's been for Notre Dame. Typically loaded with seniors. Coach Bray's program, get old, stay old. It's been anything but a very young bunch. Looking forward to Nelligan getting the spotlight and the opportunity this evening on senior night.
And Hub pulls up from 15 feet, coming off a 16-point performance in that weekend loss against Louisville, and gives the Irish the lead to start. Hub's been a heavy minute player last 5 games, playing at least 37 minutes out of 40 for Notre Dame. Thomas moving hard to the basket, and he picks up the charge. Foul trouble has plagued him throughout the year, and that's his first a minute in.
And this is great defensive anticipation for Mooney. What you didn't see there was the first attempt. You saw Thomas lower the boom. So when it became a repost opportunity, once he gathered the ball, Mooney knew what was coming. Let the body offensively do the work, creates a turnover.
And I know there are some will say, hey, that's not enough force to knock over a guy as sturdy as Mooney in the post. But he's got legal guarding position there, and if he gets displaced like that, especially when Thomas did it a second time, it's an easy call for the official.
6'9", 245, when it hits you like that, you'll get that type of reaction.
Reed smooth 10 for 16 against North Carolina, en route to that 24, and has boosted his scoring average this year as a graduate student about 3 more points a game. Mooney underneath, rejected on the way back up, tipped out of bounds and off the Tigers.
Mooney unrelenting on the backboard. Sometimes his best offense is go get that ball, offensive rebounding opportunity, and get back at it. Thomas gave up the position, able to recover with the shot block, but they're going to go ahead and sit him down, help him to regroup. Figure it out. Nelligan will check out. It's a little round of applause. Will we see him again, Mike? I hope so.
Depends how the Irish do. 3-13 in ACC play. Their wins coming against Boston College, a sweep of the Eagles and of Georgia Tech. Gibbs spins his way to the rim, turned away by the duo of Sims and Thomas. Numbers for the Tigers in transition, and Shelton Mitchell had it go halfway. Mooney leads the 3-on-1 break going into Sims. And he's fouled by the big man, the sophomore out of Virginia.
And I'll tell you, Coach Bray loves sequences like this from his team. He's been trying to speed them up, get Notre Dame to play faster. They've really struggled in a half-court setting to score the basketball. Mooney getting out and running. That's how you see numbers like that. The sequence before this, getting on the backboard, double-figure rebounder, running in the open floor to create early offense, double-figure score. He does all the little things to generate that type of productivity.
Looks like it's going to be a very casual evening for Mike Bray. Certainly you expect no tie, but no coat already, just 2 minutes into the game.
And even more poetic.
That's why he's the loosest coach in America.
The optics of the sleeves rolled up. He really has to dig in with this bunch. He's been challenged in ways that he's not really familiar with. But coach is developing what will again be a winning program come next season with all the minutes these guys have logged.
Reed's entry pass, empty results-wise. Mike Bray likes the look of that. His team up by a pair as they look to take down the Tigers, who are just 1-5 against Notre Dame since the Irish joined the ACC back in the 13-14 campaign. That one win came last year. Sims goes baseline on Leschewski. Sends it back outside. Javen White. 2 attempts from short range. The Irish and the Tigers come up empty back to back. Leschewski had it, lost it, fight for it on the ground. Trapp gets tied up, jump ball. And it's going the other way with Clemson. Year number 9 now for Brad Brownell, who just turned 50 back in November. He's looking to get them back to the NCAA tournament. Last time they did it in back-to-back years, after last year went deep into the tournament, reached the Sweet 16. Last time they went back-to-back years, 09-10 under Oliver Purnell, and then in the first year of the Brad Brownell era, 2010-2011.
And the foundation of Brownell's success at Clemson and everywhere he's been defensively. He's got an experienced group. He's looking for that continuity offensively. Plays like that down low to Sims, who more typically is a three-point shooter, but has the versatility to duck down low and make plays like this. Advantage upperclassman over Nate Leschewski.
Free throw drops for the sophomore from outside of Charlottesville.
And by upperclassman, I mean sophomore versus freshman.
That's all relative, right?
Hey, at this point, you're junior, right? Sophomore becomes junior in March. Freshman becomes sophomore.
Gibbs drew 2 defenders. Hub was looking for somebody else. It turns out that guy was Mooney across the floor. Jordan, we talked about this at Notre Dame's shoot-around this afternoon. The conversation for most improved player of the year, Jordan Nwora will be at the top of people's lists, but John Mooney has to be in that group as well.
Yeah, and Mike, in that conversation, I simply said Jordan Nwora, they knew the kind of talent they had. Just for in previous coaching regime, he didn't get the minutes that were probably deserving. Well, once you got Coach Mack there, he saw the talent, recognized it, gave him the opportunity. This wasn't expected for Mooney from Coach Bray in this season. It's been a pleasant and welcome surprise, the productivity of John Mooney. And for that reason, I think he's most deserved of the most improved award in the ACC.
And it's been from different areas on the floor, too. Before, it seemed like, okay, here's a guy who can shoot the 3 reasonably well, and now he's turned himself into a double-double machine.
Coach Bray was unsure of the field. If he had the field to be an impact player this year, well, he showed that. How he rebounds, how he leads, and how he scores.
He got rolled up on there. The foul goes on White. And it's a 3-pointer from Mooney that's given Notre Dame the lead.
Mike, remove one of the O's in Mooney, because that man with the basketball, he's John Money.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
The only final-year player to be honored today for Senior Day, Liam Nelligan from just outside Chicago, who's going to be graduating this coming year. Well, I guess getting his second degree for Notre Dame. Be going into investment banking, J.P. Morgan in New York City. And little did I know until just moments ago, Jordan Cornette, the leading shot blocker in Irish history, and a 2-year walk-on have something in common via basketball.
What's that? We're both double majors? I was not, so that's.
I could tell. I knew. I knew you. No, but something that Notre Dame students will know, but maybe others won't. Bookstore basketball champions.
Yeah, me and my man Nelly, Liam Nelligan, both bookstore basketball champions. It is the world's biggest, at least on campus, I believe it still stands, the biggest basketball outdoor tournament, and it's something very traditional and historic and revered here at Notre Dame. And thanks to my roommates who I lived with for 4 years of college. They weren't athletes here collegiately, but heck of athletes. We won it in 2005.
The only time you were eligible to play.
Yes, the only time.
As a scholarship athlete.
I laugh, but yes, because I was a senior, athletes here, varsity athletes, cannot play until they've exhausted eligibility. And I gave them some good minutes. Better minutes than I did for the university for 4 years, one would argue.
So he's looking forward to graduating. That's a legacy of legacy families. He said maybe 8 or 9 people in his family graduated from Notre Dame. His sister is a senior here. His dad was a tennis captain at Notre Dame. He's carrying on the tradition through Fighting Irish basketball as they look to play spoiler tonight here against Clemson. Offensive foul that's called on Hub for Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame's really trying to get their offense going, looking for anything to serve as a catalyst. In a half-court setting, we've seen the last 3 possessions for the Irish with Hub initiating that offense via a double high ball screen. So him being able to choose between that left high ball screen or the right and try and get some penetration, pursue some gaps, find some shooters. Irish fall back into that 2-3 zone. Got to close out on shooters. There's some capable ones with this Clemson team. Clemson must be aggressive in attacking this zone. Best way to beat it, penetration, the mid-post area as well to collapse it.
Reed shot fakes his way into a 2-point field goal. And one of the things that's enjoyable to watch about a Brad Brownell team go through practice is how much of a tactician he is in the way that they do things and the way they dissected this morning, going through and trying to score against the zone defense, screening it, hitting passes to the right spot in the same way that on Saturday they worked on getting back against the North Carolina fast break.
Allows coach to be confident in terms of that execution, you would hope, because he's got older guys, 3-4 year players that can take in a scouting report, go out there and make it happen on the floor.
Doherty grabs the offensive rebound. His putback turned away.
A little bit of contact there. Coach Bray wanted the whistle. Doherty doesn't get it. Got to go back and guard.
Now, he hasn't played a ton. 15 in white in the middle of that zone for the Irish. The plan was for him to redshirt this year, but came in on January 19th. That went out the window, and so he's played in a handful of games here into the final week of the regular season.
Good ball movement for Clemson.
And a wide open look from 3 for Mitchell.
That's where you want that ball to end up. Struggles at times, but a very capable shooter, the lefty Shelton Mitchell, who knocks it down from 3, shooting around 33% on the season. But when you move it like that and it settles on a clean look, it becomes that higher percentage opportunity.
8 unanswered points for the Tigers.
Good isolation for Durham to work.
So he's going to the stripe.
The best way to beat this zone, I talk about aggressive movement, but also moving the basketball via airspace. The quickest way to do it allows for Marcus Reed a clean look, a head fake, and a shot. And then again, 3 guys touching on the perimeter. That gets that defense disrupted. Chaos allows for a clean look and high percentage to execute and convert.
Mooney back onto the floor. He won't sit all too much, averaging about 30 minutes a game as Doherty, the Massachusetts native, goes back to the bench. Durham earlier this year, the big man for Notre Dame, he was on pace to perhaps shatter your block shots record.
Yeah, I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
A little too bad.
In all seriousness, I'm a big fan of Durham in his game, and he will definitely, by the time he's done, blow my record out of the water. An immense talent. Now going back to Clemson, they're really figuring out this zone.
And a very welcome sight to have David Scarra back onto the floor, their defensive stopper, but also percentage-wise their best three-point shooter.
Clemson's starting to be very active moving that basketball, opening up shooters, and Clemson's beginning to build a lead here on the road. A lot on the line for Clemson. Can they continue to go down this path? Mike, they're playing for a burst. Stay tuned.
It's Clemson on the road here in South Bend, Indiana by 5, 11:52 in the first half with Jordan Cornette, Mike Cousins. Glad to have you along. The Tigers started off 2 for 6 from the floor. They've hit their last 4 shots and have found success picking apart Notre Dame's zone defense.
So much so, Notre Dame has gone back to man. Clemson showed the ability to carve up the 2-3 zone.
Thomas on his strong side slipped by Mooney, not able to put it in.
When the bunny becomes a bear, point blank range, good isolation, one-on-one. Thomas had a great move, couldn't finish.
Jordan, it's been a shorthanded Notre Dame team all year because of injury, and the roster gets shorter today. We've had no Pfluger, no Carmody for quite some time. Nick Jogo out also today. He's missed the last 2 games, so it's 3 straight for him, but also no DJ Harvey with a hamstring issue today. So they're down to 7 scholarship players, 8 healthy when you count Liam Nelligan, the 2-year walk-on who got the start tonight on senior day. So right now they are young. 3 freshmen out on the floor with a pair of juniors.
3 guys that have had to grow up fast in this Notre Dame program, and it will pay dividends come next season, but for now they're learning as they go.
So Harvey with the hamstring, Jogo the shoulder, Carmody has been out for some time, and Pfluger, the source of perpetual energy on and off the floor for Notre Dame.
One of my all-time favorite Notre Dame players, Rex Pfluger, just incredibly talented on the floor, even better guy off the floor. I mean, comes from a great family, a proud representative of this university, and what they're missing on the floor, his leadership, his ability to do so much defensively, rebound, good feel, high IQ, make the extra pass, take pressure off TJ Gibbs, be that playmaker. Rex got him into action that enabled him to score, and they're missing that from Rex. But luckily, he'll be back for this Irish team next season to provide all those things.
So the injury corner of the bench there, with all 4 of them stacked down at the bottom of the bench with their video coordinator, former Irish guard Eric Atkins. Hub launches from deep.
Failed possession there from the Irish. Mooney gets the catch down low. The double team inevitably comes. Guys got to find ways to space out and become players effectively that can score the basketball. Poor spacing, not helping out Mooney. Poor shot opportunity.
And Mooney's called for the foul after Thomas put it on the deck from the free throw line. Saturday regular season comes to a close, but we have saved the best games for last. Duke and North Carolina. And a chance perhaps for the ACC to put 3 number 1 seeds into the tournament for just the second time since seeding began in 1979. And then from the ACC to the Big Ten, Michigan State Part 2. And an opportunity for the first time in 4 seasons for the Spartans to knock off Michigan twice in 1 season.
Tom Izzo in March. Heck, John Beilein in March. Tell you, Cassius Winston in that last matchup between Michigan and Michigan State was dominant. I said if I could draft in college basketball, a college basketball team, I'd take Zion first naturally. I'd take Cassius Winston next. He's that important of a piece to Michigan State and what they do. And in that long lineage of great guards, truly special point guards, have made for historic teams there in East Lansing.
Who's your 3rd pick?
Man, I knew you were going to put me on that spot. I'm going RJ Barrett 3rd.
You got to give me a big.
Oh, you want a big?
You got 2 guards. A flex position player with Zion,
hey,
but you don't have
the nature of the
you don't
game.
have a 5.
It's the nature of the game right now. Yeah, let me think. You're gonna laugh at me when I say this, only because he's not a marquee name, but I really like Teskey for Michigan.
Yeah,
just in terms of how he puts it all together for him. He's not a superstar. He's a great screener. He runs the floor. He defends. He rebounds. You got to have a role guy in your starting 5. I'm taking Teskey.
I like this as we build your college basketball Monstars team here.
Like Matt
Putting it all
Harms
together.
from Purdue, from staying in the Big Ten, my Monstars squad. Elijah's like, what about me? Coach, Burrell, tell him. Elijah Thomas, put him on the list.
Well, with 2 fouls, he finds himself where he has often this year because of foul trouble, and that's seeded for a good chunk of time. So their offense, the last couple possessions, had been consistently feeding him the ball on the left block. Perhaps to the relief of Mooney, he's out of the game, although his job comes a little bit harder if he's got to chase Scar out to the three-point line. Durham running the floor and wasn't able to receive it from Hub.
Elijah Thomas is an incredibly talented big man. He's got a good feel. He's a capable scorer down low. He's a rim protector. But he can't find a way to play without violating. Take a look at the numbers for his career, averaging over 3 fouls per game, which puts you in the danger zone throughout a game and earns you time on the bench that you don't want. 14 disqualifications from fouling out. You just got to find a way. Some of that you could credit to fatigue, and then you get lazy with your defense. But he's so talented. Would love to see him get out there and stay eligible on the floor so he can earn big minutes.
Double team came for Reed. Couldn't find Jemison underneath the basket. Now just 5 to shoot. And Mitchell pulls up, leaves it short, tipped out of bounds, and off of Goodwin from Notre Dame. Back to Clemson and a fresh 30 seconds. Mitchell had the mismatch. Reed tries from 3. Mooney getting his requisite number of rebounds. 12 in conference double-doubles this year. That's in 16 ACC games.
You got to move. When a double comes, again, the dump down to the big slows the defense down. It also attracts a double team. And when that double team comes, it's a numbers game. Somebody's open in a half court offensively for Notre Dame. You got to make yourself an available receiver, catch, look to score. And here comes your double. Look, it's going to throw down. I like the entry. A lot of traffic right there, poor spacing. Now look, when it comes down low, Durham's got to find a place to go. Because the poor spacing allowed that double to suck in, he couldn't be an available receiver to score, and it all started with poor spacing.
Goodwin from 3. And he ends a more than 8-minute scoring drought that went back to John Mooney's made three-pointer. The Irish make it a 5-point game.
Durham's playing without a shoe. Could be dangerous. Got to stop the play.
Well, the shoe was in the middle of the lane.
That's an obstacle. They're like 18s.
James Breeding blows the whistle. It's like a turtle shell in Mario Kart. You got to get it out of the way.
Something smells funny, Mike.
Best time of the year, March basketball, always exciting, and I'm glad that it's more than just a week. March 8th to the 17th. Mike Cousins, Jordan Cornette, you're headed off to New York's state capital, Albany, New York.
Yeah, got the MAC tournament up there.
That's the Metro Atlantic.
It's going to be the MAAC. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot going on. Great environment. It's been a staple there. Upstate New York. I'm really excited to get up there.
It's just a shame you'll have to carry Jason Benetti for an entire weekend, but you're used to it from Wednesdays with me, so.
I live in Chicago. That guy owns the city. You know that. Good friend of yours. For those who aren't picking up on a heavy sarcasm there.
Mooney falls away with 2 on the shot clock. I had an article written about him this past week about, I think he's doing something like
another article about him?
230 games in the year with the White Sox and football and basketball. I don't know when he sleeps.
I mean, he's the most famous guy in the business at this point.
There's Scara down the lane, already hitting a 3 after his hiatus from the starting lineup and playing overall Saturday against North Carolina. And speaking of Champ Week, the ACC tournament moves this year from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn to Charlotte, North Carolina, ACC Central, and you'd have Miami, Notre Dame squaring off. Bottom 6 seeds play Tuesday. The top 4 seeds get the coveted double bye with all those spots locked in after yesterday's victory for Florida State over Virginia Tech.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of questions going into Charlotte. Is Zion going to suit up for Duke? Will Justin Robinson return for Virginia Tech? And if neither of these happen, what kind of teams are these two teams, which are incredibly tough, infinitely more tougher with those two stars. And a lot of my focus goes to that 1 seed of Virginia. What a balanced unit those Cavaliers are.
The team we saw a week ago today stomp all over Georgia Tech by 30 points, and then over the weekend did the same thing to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Exactly what you would expect for a team of that caliber to do.
And as we talk about those storylines, Clemson, they need to get it done here to even think about getting wins in the ACC tournament. But if they're able to handle business on the road, a lot of focus goes to Charlotte. And can they get a win there so they don't have to worry come Selection Sunday?
Well, they'll certainly feel a lot more comfortable if they can pick up a victory today against the Irish, who in a lot of first halves have made it a 1-2 possession game after 20 minutes. It's been the second half where the young and short-rostered Irish have sometimes faded away down the stretch.
Clemson can't even begin to think about Syracuse on the weekend because Notre Dame's putting up a fight here on their home floor. Great pass.
Skara toasted Leschewski and dropped it off for Javen White.
It's a big-time play. Patient, cerebral move. Attract the defense, suck it in, dump down for the punctuation.
Hub comfortable to launch. Mooney had it in his grasp and knocked away by the Tigers.
It's just fantastic feel as you got Skara, who patiently allows that defense to collapse in on him. Once it does, it's the simple dump down to White for the dunk finish. It's a guy who's played a lot of basketball, versatile piece, known most especially for his defensive effort and being able to guard 1 through 5. But he's also got a high IQ and feel for the game in a half-court setting.
Hunter Tyson, number 5 in orange for Clemson, has had back-to-back pretty strong performances, averaging 15 minutes, as a matter of fact, over his last 3 games, and gave them quality minutes against North Carolina, putting in 3 points and 9 before that against Pittsburgh. Now, there were minutes to be had, too, with Skara's absence. Him and John Newman, both freshmen, saw extended time against the Tar Heels. Still a 5-point game, 4.5 to go until the break. Hub with the dribble, 5th in the country in overall minutes for a freshman this year. Number 1, you know very well, R.J. Barrett. Number 2, Romeo Langford, one of the bigger recruits in recent memory for Indiana. But number 5 on that list this year, Prentice Hub. Second look for Notre Dame. Gibbs down the lane. Ball saved by Goodwin. And Notre Dame does what it rarely does. Turns it over, and it turns into 2 for Trapp. The Irish 6th in the country in fewest turnovers, but that giveaway leads directly to a basket at the other end. Stagnation from Notre Dame turns into action. And a quick bucket. 26-19.
TJ Gibbs can do a better job of exploring those gaps. So many times he settles for the long ball, highly contested, or just a bad look from too deep. That defense respects his three-point ability. So use that to your advantage, get to the rim. He does so there seamlessly. Notre Dame typically so good with the basketball. But how about a little bit of Rosetta Stone? Clemson getting defensive, translating that defense into a little bit of offense. Trap music.
Coming this summer, ESPN and the ACC will team up to bring you the ACC Network. It all gets going in August. All 15 universities, one network. Visit getaccn.com to learn more. Back here in South Bend, my cousin's Jordan Cornett. Glad you're with us tonight. A late tip, one of 2 9 p.m. games in the ACC tonight. And the Tigers, with a win tonight, according to our own Joe Lunardi, can get themselves back into the NCAA tournament field after falling out. Right now, they're the last team out of the tournament after the loss against North Carolina over the weekend.
I got to have game for Clemson. Not necessarily a must-win because there's opportunities in front of them, but this could hurt a lot. The inability to get this done right here. As you take a look, another good year for the ACC. A lot of tournament teams. Clemson could find their way in, like you said, Mike. They take care of business here, but Syracuse in front of them, the ACC tournament as well. So some opportunities for this tough-minded, defensive-minded Clemson bunch.
Now, wouldn't be the quadrant 1 win that they'd love to have to boost their resume, because with the latest net rankings, the NCAA evaluation tool replacing the RPI this year, Notre Dame today went from 103 to 104, and so on the road, that gives you a quadrant 2 victory. Now Mike Stevens, Matt Potter go over to the monitor. Just take a quick look at that last play.
Just take a look at Clemson's resume right there. And like you said, devoid of those quadrant 1 wins. Good win against Virginia Tech. Right now, outside looking in, this one can do a lot of harm if you can't win here on the road versus Notre Dame. And those quadrant 1 wins could be ahead of them potentially in the postseason tournament within conference.
So the replay review was to go look to see who would be shooting the foul shots, and so it is TJ Gibbs for Notre Dame.
Maybe this can get TJ Gibbs going. Struggling from the field. Shot selection has been a little suspect here in the first half. See some go in from the free throw line could go a long way for the guard, who's had a lot on him this season. With the injuries, he's had to shoulder a load. I think at times such a good young man. I feel like sometimes he puts too much pressure on himself to deliver, and that's where you see the struggles. When he lets the game come to him is when number 10's at his best.
Well, you can tell how much he wants to do well. You know, he's up there with Mooney, 1-2 leading scorers for Notre Dame. And I think this is something that gets blown out of proportion a lot, is you'll see on Twitter, someone will say, well, player X is out on the floor before the game. Clearly, he's ready to play today, or he really wants it. But I think the difference is you have 2 games left in the season. The postseason of any prestige has long gone out the window for Notre Dame. And that's where Gibbs makes a difference, to be out there on the floor putting up shot after shot after shot, when at this point in the season, as a human being, you could easily forgive someone for saying, you know what, I'm probably ready for this season to be in the books.
Without question. Without question.
Reed stretches the lead back to 7 for Clemson with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Clemson needs to do a little bit more to get their volume guy even more touches. He's having great success here in the first 19 minutes of the game. Look to keep Reed going even more. Play off the ball. Run him through some screens. Find ways to activate your star.
Back into the zone for Notre Dame. Jordan, you've watched just about every minute Notre Dame has played this year. Do you think they've been more effective as a man-to-man team or as a zone team?
A zone team, and it's definitely been in the arsenal defensively for Coach Bray throughout his time here in South Bend, but also they need to conserve energy. Being devoid of so many bodies due to injury, you're playing 7 scholarship guys, a lot of guys logging a lion's share of those minutes. You got to preserve them defensively, and you also got to go down low to Mooney. Crowd comes alive here for the last minute of the first stanza. Clemson's going to get a timeout. He's as productive as they come. A walking double-double. John Mooney, in my opinion, the most improved player in the ACC. Shows you that versatility from 15.
"19 minutes into the game, and John Mooney, who leads major conference players with 12 in-league double-doubles, is just 1 rebound away from doing that again.
And on a national scale, he'd be a more known entity if Notre Dame were able to garner more wins, and that would start by being healthy this season for the Irish. But John Mooney has put together some season. And as Notre Dame begins to win more down the road, more people will know who this guy is. He lets his game do the talking. He's not the guy in the huddle that's the loudest voice. He's not a look-at-me guy. But these guys on this team rally behind him because when he steps on that floor, he produces.
He climbs the mountain for the view from the top, not so that people can see him at the top of the mountain.
That's exactly what I was going for, Mike.
Here's Gibbs, way deep on the three. And all of a sudden, the Irish have tied it up. One possession left in the first half.
Crowds come alive. Clemson's going to play for one. I'd like to see Reed get this off a ball screen or a dribble handoff to get him going with some momentum.
Newman finds Skara. 3 seconds. Into the corner, Newman. No good. Clemson 32, Notre Dame 32, and almost a third of those points belong to John Mooney.
John Mooney leading the charge, doing it from the inside, doing it from the outside. Effort plays. Notre Dame has not given up on this season.
Now it's been a roll-up-your-sleeves type of game for both teams. The Irish just hoping to play spoiler against the Tigers, trying to get back into the NCAA tournament field. 20 minutes gone, and they're even in South Bend. Away we go. Start of the second half. 32-all, Clemson and Notre Dame. The Tigers, first team out of Joe Lunardi's NCAA tournament field. Notre Dame started off shooting 5 of 22, made their last 4 shots of the first half. John Mooney gave them 10 points, 9 rebounds, tack and assist on there as well.
Fantastic movement and execution with the set drawn up. Great vision for Mooney to thread the needle for the easy lay-in for Leshevsky.
Tigers have a chance for a different second half here. They had Elijah Thomas on the floor, their second leading scorer, for all of 4 minutes and 34 seconds in the first half. He picked up 2 fouls and sat the rest of the way. Meanwhile, Reed continues to add to his spectacular night, now has a dozen.
And with Thomas back on the floor, it might limit some of that productivity you saw in the first half from Mooney. It also may allow fatigue for Mooney to set in, having to defend such a bull in Thomas down in the interior. But can Thomas stay on the floor? That remains to be the question, and it has been all season long.
Clemson's got a bigger, flexible lineup out here with Sims and Skara on the floor. And Skara, who missed Saturday's game against North Carolina, returning today from that upper body injury, didn't start, but was quick into the game in the first half. Leshevsky stays in front. Skara with the rebound over Goodwin, and there's Mooney locking up the double-double, his 13th in 17 ACC games. Blocking foul under the basket as Goodwin puts it on the deck. And Sims hit the floor. That's his 3rd foul.
It's really interesting to watch Notre Dame, and as they've evolved in this regard. Sure, it hasn't translated to wins, but those watching may notice Notre Dame's playing a little bit faster right now. How are they doing that? Well, Coach Bray, in talking with them earlier today, said, Jordan, in practice, we've been using a 20-second shot clock as opposed to the typical 30. We want to speed our guys up, and if playing with a shorter shot clock, Coach, the offensive guru, said in their minds they'll be thinking, we got to look for opportunities quicker. We can't be passive. We got to be aggressive. And that 20-second shot clock is starting to show signs of a faster offense in sequences like the one we just saw.
You think it's led to better shots?
It's led to better shots, but it's the mentality, Mike, is the bigger thing. This is a passive unit, and that's because it's young guys. Look at the free throw line. Dane Goodwin, an immense talent. He's only a freshman. So those guys defer first. You're not looking at alphas. Alphas are juniors and seniors. There are no alphas outside of TJ Gibbs and John Mooney on this team. So how do you ignite that into the other guys? Say, hey, the pressure's on. Go out there and take the shot because the shot clock's going to run out. Makes you play faster and take that shot, and I like that mentality.
Thomas gets the basket and one with the foul on Mooney. It's a lot of the time you'll see Thomas scoring from the left side of the basket, and they're going from his weak side.
Yeah, you got to treat Thomas almost like he's a lefty because of how much he does that. As you take a look, great spacing. He typically buries you down low, but he caught that one a little bit off the block and just lowered the boom. Mooney defensively had another opportunity to take the charge, neglected it. Old-fashioned three-point play opportunity for Thomas.
Tigers by 2 with a couple minutes gone in the second half. Leschewski 3.
Listen to Thomas work. He's calling for the basketball. Young big men, take note. That's clinical stuff on the low block for Thomas. Clinical. Over here, we're a solid 15 yards away, and you could hear throughout this arena, Thomas demand the basketball, showed two hands, caught it in a quick move. Does not allow that defense to congeal or a double team to attract. Catches, dips the shoulder, goes in, assertive, and it allows for yet another three-point play opportunity for Thomas.
What difference does it make to guards? You mentioned showing two hands, whether they can see the number and he shows two hands, or whether there's just one hand available for the pass.
Well, there's more trust there. When you show those two hands, no guard wants a turnover to their name. So when they see two hands, they see that the guy's defiant about getting it. You know your big man's confident. He's got a scoring opportunity. So that trust is imminent. And then you make the pass down low, and you see a conversion.
Thomas at one end, Mooney attempting at the other. Reed knocked it away, but also knocked it out of bounds. So it's the Irish with Goodwin to inbound.
And what's most impressive, again, going back to Mooney, and you look at the numbers of the productivity, he's dealing with double and sometimes triple teams because the opposition says, all right, we'll make the unproven guys beat us, and yet still Mooney gets his numbers.
Tigers stand tall defensively, one of the best in the ACC, just giving up an average of 64 points a game, third in the league. And Reed gives it up and gets whistled for his first personal.
I'm not quite sure what Reed was doing here with Hub so clearly in front, but take a look at Elijah Thomas. That's a big man at 6'9", 245. That's impressive movement, a gifted shot blocker, but typically in the interior. This guy is playing clean basketball. You can tell he wants to be on the floor, and the energy is at an optimum level in these first 4 minutes of the second half.
Gibbs angles his way under Skara to get the bucket. Thomas with position. The Irish looking like they were going to double team, and Elijah left it short.
That was all types of a travel. No whistle goes. Got to get back in guard, though, if you're Clemson. Need to start putting together some stops and build a lead.
Here comes Mitchell. Has Hub in front of him, right to the basket. Mooney steps into the three, just wide. Rebound tipped around from Leschewski. Thomas ends yet another Notre Dame possession on the defensive glass.
Clemson got away with one right there. Asleep at the wheel. Mooney on the swing pass had a great look. Nobody aware of him as the shooter. Inexplicably.
He's been playing a lot under the basket tonight, whether it's been trying to stay in front of Thomas defensively or working him from the low block. Skara got Goodwin on his back, the basket, and the foul as well.
Thomas's plus-minus has been absurd, making the difference here in the second half. Clemson is playing for something. They want to dance.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
Brooks. And so the Tigers find themselves the first team out of the NCAA tournament field, according to Joe Lunardi. But he says a win today, which would go down as a quadrant 2 victory over the Irish, puts them back into the NCAA tournament mix.
And Mike, it's almost like this game, this night has the feel of Clemson's opportunity to exercise the demons. It looks like it's going to come down to a possession or two at the end of this one. And if it does, can Clemson make the winning plays to finish the game and close it?
First 4 teams out, according to today's bracketology. You've got St. Mary's, Furman, and Murray State. Skara drives it strongly to the rim. So if you're a bubble team right now, and you look at the leagues that are traditionally 1-bid leagues, but this year could be 2-bid leagues, you're rooting for Gonzaga, perfect in conference play in the WCC. You're rooting for Wofford, to perfect in conference play this year, and Buffalo and Belmont and Lipscomb, because if those teams lose in their conference tournaments, they're still likely to make the NCAA tournament field, and that means they're taking away a bid from somebody else.
Without question, and just ask Mike Bray what happened to his Notre Dame team last season. Notre Dame was a team that was in the tournament until the Atlantic tournament. Davidson gets a win, steals another bid, along with Rhode Island. Notre Dame's out. Clemson does not want to worry about those kind of things. You look at their resume right there. Clemson needs to think about what they can control. Winning here on the road, taking care of Syracuse next, and then what's in front of them in the ACC tournament. You got to believe that you control your own destiny. You don't want to put this in the hands of other teams, because that's what Notre Dame did by not finishing out games last season. Davidson wins that game, wins that conference tournament, and Davidson, along with Rhode Island, and Notre Dame's left out. Clemson's got to finish out in the last 14 minutes here. Notre Dame has no intent of going away quietly on their home floor.
The Irish last year, an NIT team, 21-15 overall and 8-10. Through the ACC regular season. Got sent packing in the second round of the NIT. Foul is on Jawan Durham. Second on the Irish big man.
Thomas was able to get a spell on the bench, re-energized, back to demanding the basketball and making the winning pass. It's a great offensive possession for Clemson. Played through the big fella, who's been aggressive, but also with the feel to know, hey, let's get it to another guy who can score it here.
Goodwin with the extra pass to Mooney in the corner with 2 defenders on him. Another rebound for Thomas.
Don't like that shot for Mooney. That was a forced one. He's earned the ability to take that, but move it around, get a better one.
But isn't that a bit of what Mike Bray was hoping for by having his team practice with a 20-second shot clock, was just to make the instinctual play rather than making the extra pass?
Without question. But Mooney, they never worried about his trigger. It's more for the other guys. But yes, with the ideals, that's what you want. Meanwhile, Thomas continues to carve up Notre Dame in this second half.
Gibbs shakes off trap, sends it wide, and Mooney there to secure the rebound. He's already got a double-double today, and with his double-double, his 13th in ACC play, the second most in conference action since Tim Duncan had 15 in 16 conference games back in the 96-97 season.
When you mention Tim Duncan in the same sentence as John Mooney, Mr. Mooney, you're doing something right. It's see ball, get ball for Mooney on that backboard. He has an eye for it. But this is all will. This is all determination. This is want, desire. Look, when that ball goes up, one-track mind, go find it. And he's got this anticipation of how that ball's going to careen off the rim, and that is a skill that all great rebounders possess. Seeing where that thing's going and saying, okay, it's going to come off the rim, probably over here, let me get to that area. And he's got great hands. Those mitts, once he gets that ball in it, it's like a magnet. It attracts to it. Fantastic rebounder. Not the most athletic, all desire.
And there it is again on display. But as he's slow to get up, the Tigers are quick to get back down the floor. They don't take advantage, even numbers.
Notre Dame made an interesting defensive personnel change, bringing Durham, the long, wiry, lengthy, athletic shot blocker, to try and limit what Thomas is doing down low. Is it the antidote?
And that means Mooney has to guard Skara, who misses the three-pointer. Mooney looking a little bit tired right now. They drop it in for Durham. Nearly tied it up at 47. Reed had to try and save it, went behind the back. Hub through the lane. Now he gets tied up. Shovels it for Durham, who slams it, and we're even at 47. Halftime score was even at 32, and it's 15 points apiece through 9 minutes of second half action. A 6-0 Notre Dame run. And Reed quiets the crowd with the fadeaway.
That is a tough shot. Defensively, you've done
that.
Yeah, you've done all you can defensively right there. Scorers are going to score, and he's one of the best in the conference. Marquise Reed delivers.
38 points in his last game and a half. Too much off the window. Now here comes Newman. It's results like Saturdays and today's that make you love the ACC. Clemson, blow for blow with North Carolina, a team that's a /1, maybe #2 seed in the NCAA tournament. And here against Notre Dame, 3-13, 9:50 to go in the second half. It's Clemson 49, Notre Dame 47.
And you're clearly not a coach if you enjoy this. This is what they hate, how deep this thing is. And when you go against guys like John Mooney, just know you better be ready to fight, because he's going to bring it in. Clemson, if you're looking to earn a bid, you can't have plays like this. Reckless with the basketball, and then it ends up with Durham with the punctuation. But look, you can call in the Wolf. He can fix all the problems when he makes plays like that. The Reed, Marquise.
The biggest game Saturday, Duke, North Carolina, starts off at 6 Eastern. Perhaps the battle for the ACC's other #1 seed other than Virginia. How important is that? Well, Duke and Carolina have won 10 titles since '79, all but one when the team was a #1 seed. And then Michigan State Part 2 as they meet as top 10 teams once again for the second time this year. That's 8 Eastern on ESPN. Huge day for Mooney, 16 rebounds, just 3 shy of his career high. And another double-double for him, 13 in the ACC, 19 for the year. 49 all. Everybody says pump the brakes. 9:20 to go for South Bend. So John Mooney's already got his 19th double-double of the year. It's just the 4th time that a Notre Dame player has gone 15 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists in the last 23 years.
It's incredible, and that's why I believe that this man is the most improved player in the ACC. And that's out of respect to the talent that Jordan Nwora is, that it was expected for him to be good this season. Not the case for John Mooney.
Luke Carangodi had 2 of them back in 08-09, and Pat Garrity the other.
Pat Garrity was a problem back in the day. There was no solution for Pat Garrity. The world's nicest guy, but on the court, he was a terror.
I thought that world's nicest guy belonged to another Notre Dame player.
LaFonso Ellis, and it's not even close. It's not even close. And LaFonso was a terror, too. Great player, collegially and professionally. Look at those numbers for Marquise Reed. This is the guy in a position like this, with your postseason life on the line, you got to ride him. Now, Elijah Thomas has been great as that facilitator down low, but Marquise Reed at some point has to say, I'm going to take this game over.
Mooney gets a touch twice, quickly a hand in his face, whether from Reed or for Thomas. Leads to an open look for Gibbs. He doesn't hit it. And the Irish from 3 are 3 of 12. Beg your pardon. That's for Clemson, 3 of 11. Notre Dame 4 for 19 from 3.
Something that's plagued them all season long. They've had the shots. They just can't make the shots. Coach can't help you out there.
Thomas caught Durham off balance and shakes him out of his shoes.
Thomas has the awareness that Durham gets greedy to block the shot, knowing that he lets the defender get greedy, leave his feet, and then attacks. I go right back to Thomas. Can Thomas's strength combat the length of Durham? It does when he gets Durham up to leave his feet. Right back down low to Thomas. Space him out, let him make a play.
And it looks like Mooney was contemplating a double team had Thomas turned back toward the middle, but they're letting him go one-on-one.
Yeah, it was the feel from Thomas to turn away from the double, but also make a quick enough play where that double doesn't come, just couldn't finish.
Hub dials it up from 3, a 1-point game. You go through Notre Dame program history, there have been 2 guards to play more than 1,000 minutes in a season as a freshman. Chris Thomas, David Rivers, and in Notre Dame's final game of the regular season, Hub will go over that 1,000-minute mark as well, making his impact on the Notre Dame program, pulling them to within a point. Going for the sweep against Michigan. Meanwhile, if UNC gets a win over Duke, they get at least a share of the ACC regular season title Saturday. Duke needs Virginia to lose to Louisville to have a shot. It's been 8 years without a regular season title in the ACC for Duke, or at least a share of it. Their longest drought under Coach K. But you know what? They've been all right during that time. They've persevered. Meanwhile, the story is a little bit different for Brad Brownell and the Tigers, looking to go to the NCAA tournament for back-to-back seasons for the first time in almost a decade. And today, trying to win back-to-back road games for the first time in over a year, going back to January and February of last year, winning at Georgia Tech and at Wake. Back-to-back road games.
Now with the zone set up from Clemson, your guards got to be aggressive with the dribble drive. That mid-post area at the ACC logo in the paint is where you can collapse this defense. Scoring opportunities abound there.
Hub saves it for Mooney, just 5 to shoot. He works on Sims, gets doubled, and the kick out to Hub is tipped by Thomas.
What a closeout for Thomas. Highly active, makes a big-time play. Hub was wide open. Hub was ready to knock that thing down, and Thomas doesn't give up on the play to prevent a triple.
Elijah Thomas has been like an optimistic Silicon Valley startup, a disruptor on the defensive side of the floor.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I was trying to connect the dots there.
We're going to disrupt things. We're going to change the world. But first, our Class A funding round. 54-52, Thomas sits. A much bigger impact for him. Set back by foul trouble in the first half. Only played 4.5 minutes out of the first 20. Loose ball, Durham's got it. Notre Dame has a chance once again to tie or take the lead. Biggest impact player today for the Irish far and away has been Mooney with 15, but Gibbs and Goodwin each have 11. And now Mooney has 18. A standing O from Liam Nelligan, who gets the start on senior day. Sat quickly. Timeout, 5:42 to go.
John Mooney is a star. There's no other way around it. And when you got threes on your jersey, well, you got to give it to him from distance. This young man, his growth from one year to the next, in all my years covering Notre Dame and being a part of the program, I haven't seen a guy elevate his game like this. He's so confident. That's a tough shot. Hand in the face, trailing by 2, looking for a response time and time again. John Mooney has delivered. This guy, his athleticism, if you go through drills, it's not going to jump off the page at you. You're not going to be wowed by the specimen that he is. But what he is a competitor. What he is incredibly skilled, very well-conditioned athlete. A lot's been asked of him. From the minute the ball tips to the last buzzer, that young man's going to give you his all. And with that heart, a lot of the productivity is generated from that.
On a night where they really needed him to play big, because they've got more players in street clothes than they do available to come off the bench. 4 injured players and 3 available reserves, just 2 on scholarship.
Thomas needs to give it up and get back down low.
Reed gets a lot of leeway for fadeaway jumpers. That one no good. Notre Dame still holds the lead with 5:15 left in regulation. Looking for just their 4th ACC win of the season with 1 game to go. They've toppled Boston College twice, as well as Georgia Tech. Here's Goodwin, who's got 11 against Scar. Rhythm 3, Sims gets the offensive rebound, doesn't get the whistle as he drives the lane. The formula for Notre Dame so often has been close first half, close first 10 minutes of the second half. The final 10 minutes have been the separator, and here they are hanging around in a 1-possession game. Got a whistle right in front of the Notre Dame bench. And the foul goes on Sims, his 4th for Clemson. An energized Mike Bray.
They would have a lot of opportunities like this. These guys are coming out here. Coach jokes about, can we score more than 60? And Coach has been blessed with some great offensive teams. If they're going to look to win this one, they're going to have to score more than 60 here in these last 4 minutes.
Blocking foul. Was it a 4-year drought offensively when you were here?
I mean, come on. You know the answer to a question. Why even ask?
And that's foul number 5 on Sims. So his day comes to a close with 4:10 to go.
They say defense wins championships. We didn't win one of those, but I got playing time. So shout out to my teammates who are poor defenders that allowed me to get some minutes. Thanks, guys.
Mike Cousins, Jordan Cornette, the all-time leading shot blocker here at Notre Dame, looking to play spoiler tonight against the Clemson Tigers, sitting 1 spot outside of the NCAA tournament field. 3 off the window for Gibbs, and the lead is 4 for Notre Dame.
Some smiles from this Notre Dame team that has been dealt a tough hand this season. Does Clemson have a response?
A triple team by the Irish. Mooney gets the takeaway. This equals Notre Dame's largest lead of the night, 4 points.
They haven't given away a lot, only 9 turnovers for Clemson, but they come at the most costly of times in the game.
Mooney backs down Scara. A bounce and a roll off the rim. Mitchell, a much-needed bucket, cuts the lead to 2.
Notre Dame's going to slow it up here. Clock is their friend, 1-possession game. Slow things down here, value this possession, try and get a stop. Clemson known for their defense. It's going to have to carry him here.
Reed went big for the steal. Hub triggers the 3. That could have been big as Reed gambled and didn't win.
Product of what Coach has been preaching. He wants them to be aggressive in pursuit of the initial opportunities. Trying to play fast may have hurt him right there.
Reed from the right block ties the game 58 all.
Notre Dame's going to get timeout.
2:21 to go, 58 all. Mooney has been big today. Goodwin has come up clutch, but Gibbs going window, sparking the Irish down the stretch.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Voya Financial, helping you to and through retirement. Learn more at Voya.com.
It's as simple as what Joe Lunardi says. Win and you're in for the Tigers. A victory over Notre Dame puts them back into the NCAA tournament field. This would be a quadrant 2 win for them today. Those are decided by the net rankings. Their one quadrant 1 win against Virginia Tech. They can get back in. 2 games left in the regular season. And of course, there's opportunity that awaits in the ACC tournament, but you'd like to not have to hold your breath all the way till Selection Sunday.
And that's just what it's going to be. Mike, this is March. Clemson's got a lot on the line, and a team that's not expected to be in it is making it hard on them. It's going to come down to winning plays here. The Irish, you got to expect her to play through Mooney here on the low block.
Goodwin pull up. Mitchell called for the foul. Goodwin hasn't scored any explosive baskets today, but he's got 11 points.
Goodwin is going to be a dynamic piece that Coach Bray can use moving forward in a lot of different ways. Great defender, tough-nosed, gifted in the mid-range, capable shooter. The confidence is what's lacking right now for him. He doesn't understand how talented he is. That's what's to be expected of a freshman. But he's got a bright future here at South Bend.
Former Ohio Gatorade Player of the Year, number 80 in the ESPN 100. His dad, Damon, played at Dayton. Longtime Division III coach at Capital University in the Columbus area. So just 2 minutes to go, the Irish by 1.
Watch Marcus Reed and him using some screens off the ball here. He's going to take the handoff.
Gibbs struggled to get around the screen. Durham effectively helped shut him down. 3 defenders again to Thomas. It's Scar from the short corner. No, the tip doesn't go. Secured by Durham. Notre Dame ball.
Clemson's going to remain man. Gibbs coming off a double. Mooney's got to demand the basketball. Watch the slip.
Durham rolled to the basket. Gibbs was turned away. 4 to shoot. Now 2. And Goodwin puts it up. Shot clock violation. An out-of-sync offensive possession all around there for Notre Dame. At one point, you had both Mooney and Durham coming up to set a ball screen.
Inexplicable to me when you have Mooney and how good he's been, 18 and 18, an all-conference performer, arguably the most improved in the ACC, does not touch the ball in these critical possessions down the stretch. That is a young basketball team to me. And that's failure to execute in that what we call winning time. Mooney needs to demand that basketball in the low block in isolation and make something happen. TJ Gibbs has a responsibility as the point guard to get it down to John Mooney to make a play, as they're going to go to the clock and review here how much time, I believe.
We're at 107 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they added 1 second onto there.
They are going to add 1 second to 108. Every second's going to count here, but again, going back to Notre Dame, understanding who you're gifted with on your roster. Now, Clemson, on the other hand, here in this possession, with 68 seconds left to play, Marquise Reed should use the high ball screen, look for a dribble, kick and drive, drive and kick, see what he has there. If that's not the choice you go with, Elijah Thomas as the screener and dive guy is another viable option.
Thomas screens, he rolls, Reed pulls up. The Tigers leapfrog the Irish 60-59, and it's 20 for Reed.
Mooney's got to get a touch.
Timeout, Notre Dame.
When you've got a guy that can generate offense all by himself, you want to put him in a position to succeed. The high ball screen comes from Thomas. It allows a little bit of a gap to pursue, and Reed off the bounce is as good as they get. One of the top 5 scorers in this conference, a volume guy, and he has amnesia. Forgets the last miss and tries to pursue the next make.
Sports Center comes your way tonight on ESPN after Nuggets Lakers, and after the buzzer with Stan and Neil, they'll be joined live by Stephen A. from the Staples Center. Highlights and reactions from LA, with LeBron just 12 points shy of passing Michael Jordan on the all-time points list, and the top quarterbacks in Todd McShay's latest mock draft. Sports Center, 1 Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app.
And the officials were just clearing up the review to make sure they got that clock right. Had to do the subtraction, add that time on.
I was told there would be no math.
That's why I was an English major. Hey, you don't have to tell me. You lose me once you mention numbers.
Well, we went from 107 to 108, so I can handle the one-digit change.
Go ahead and pat yourself on the back, Mike.
It's about as far as my math abilities stretch, unfortunately. Which is great, because we've got a 1-point game. Clemson 60, Notre Dame 59 out of the timeout. And it's down the stretch again for Clemson. 4 ACC games have been decided by a total of 6 points between games against NC State, Miami, Louisville, and most recently North Carolina on Saturday. All of those did not go the Tigers' way, and they'll hope to change that tonight.
Yeah, they're going to play the two-man game on the side. Great double team. Mooney retreat dribble. They got to get it right back to him. Don't be afraid to go right back to him.
Shot clock is inside of 10. Hub inside for Mooney. The entry pass is taken away. That was the extra pass that Mike Bray told us this afternoon he wanted his team to forego and just take the shot.
It's a freshman mistake from Prentice Hub. The idea was there. Understanding you want to get Mooney the basketball. The spacing was not. The path with which you want to make the pass was not there. You got to decide, hey, we want to get it to Mooney. Defense has walled him off. Let's reverse it and play. Poor decision, but no matter what happens here, unless you give up an offensive rebound, it's still a one-possession game.
7th foul, so it's the bonus, and a 1-and-1 for Reed. He's one of the two guys you really want at the line, whether it's Marquise Reed or Shelton Mitchell, both above 80%. However, the rest of the team, that's a know your scouting report thing. That's who you want to foul in this type of situation.
And that's your backcourt. Those are the guys who are going to dominate the ball here if given another opportunity. Big-time free throws from your star.
Reed's got the last 6 points for the Tigers, up by 3. Once again, another game down to the wire. It was a single-digit lead for either side the whole time. Clemson comes down the floor. White, Brooks in the lane. Both make contact. Neither draws a whistle from the officials. And even a last-second heave for Clyde Trapp didn't go Clemson's way. 81-79 in front of a sellout crowd at Little John Coliseum on Saturday. 0-4 in the ACC. NC State, Miami, Louisville, Carolina. Games decided by 2 points or less. But right now, it's looking like it may go their way with a 3-point lead.
Exercising the demons. You want to make it into the dance? You got to get over the inability of not being able to close out late games. Maybe on the ride over, they checked out Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross. Saw Alec Baldwin say, ABCs always be closing. Can Clemson do it here on the road? We'll see. You have time now to pursue a quick 2. Foul and stretch this game out. You don't necessarily need a 3.
Up goes baseline. Gets the 2. Clemson by 1. The Irish go for the trap, don't get it, and they foul the 84% free throw shooter, Shelton Mitchell.
Going back to when your backcourt can make free throws at the clip these Clemson Tigers can. Doesn't allow that opening, but can Mitchell deliver 2 huge free throws here for his Tigers?
Good on the front end of the 1-and-1.
You're still in position where if you can get another quick hitting 2, assuming Mitchell makes this, you can still go that route. Foul again and extend, but it's a miss.
And Mooney grabs the rebound. Here comes Hub. No timeouts for Notre Dame. Goodwin locked out. A deep three. Sails wide. Leszewski on the baseline. He's pushed. And it's the 7th foul against Clemson. So the freshman goes to the line for a 1-and-1.
That is not how you drew it up. Plenty of time left. A Hail Mary heave. Leszewski sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. He's good. The right place makes him lucky. How good is he here from the free throw line?
71% for the freshman from Florida. One more to tie.
Pretty confident looking stroke on the first one.
Clemson utilizes its final timeout of regulation.
Cruel and unusual punishment for a freshman. On the last, almost 11th hour of his freshman season, and man, it's fly free, young man. It's time to leave the nest. Time to deliver. You're no longer a kid, you're a young man. And as I said, in March, you go from freshman to sophomore at this time of the season. What an experience for Nate Leszewski right here. A fantastic shooter, a fantastic stroke. Can he do it?
Pressure is on Notre Dame here. Got to make the free throw. How do they strategize here, whether it's a make or a miss?
It'll be interesting to see if Coach Bray elects to put a guy on the ball. Jawan Durham is that guarding the inbound defender. In this position, because it's going to be such quick hitting experience, I'd have a guy in midfield. I'd have a roamer. I'd have a guy, an extra defender, not worry about guarding the inbound. If it was going to be a position where it's a dead ball, I'd put my guy there. It's going to be so bang-bang. I get my guys back, make sure everybody communicates who their man is, and have that extra defender around. But play clean basketball, no fouls, because it is a bonus opportunity here to go to the free throw line for Clemson. So you got to be smart, but you got to communicate.
So one more free throw for the freshman Nate Leszewski. Brad Brownell using his last timeout. Notre Dame is out of timeouts as well.
The tension is palpable here.
He missed it. The Irish have to foul quickly, and they do with just over a second coming off the clock.
New lease on life for those Clemson Tigers. You think they're excited? Still some game left here, though. And a miss from Trapp. And it's got to be
Going to be a three-quarter court shot almost at best for Notre Dame.
Or a amazingly quick outlet and maybe a half quarter. And even then, that'd be incredibly tight. You're looking at catch, heave. Best case here.
First is good for Trapp.
You never want to give the opposition opportunity for any kind of throw to win the game, but a miss ain't the worst thing right here. On the make, you get a chance from the inbound, get your pieces in place, and then heave.
So he intentionally leaves it short. Here's Mooney, and Notre Dame comes up just 2 points short. In ACC play, the tide finally turns Clemson's way in a one-possession game. The Tigers 64, the Irish 62. And that could be just enough with one game left in the regular season to put Clemson back in the field.
Clemson able to get by the skin of their teeth, but this is huge. One more step closer to a tournament berth, but again, Syracuse in front of them. Clemson needs to keep winning to control their own destiny, but they're able to get by here with some big-time plays from their stars in Thomas and Reed.
And for Notre Dame, John Mooney, his 13th ACC double-double, his 19th overall of the year, most in the ACC since Tim Duncan in 96-97. For our crew, Jordan Cornett, Mike Cousins saying so long from South Bend.